Okay, in this AutoCAD lesson, I'm going to show you how to draw a slab detail edge. So I have something like that here. So as you can sort of see, a general type of raft slab detail. So we're going to have a look at drawing that. Just going to put this back onto my other page. So I'm going to use polyline. So to start the polyline command, I just type PL. Then I press spacebar or enter, and I'm just going to pick anywhere on my screen for now. Now on the drawing I had, the edge beam was 300 mil wide, so I'm going to type 300 and move my mouse in the direction I want to go, and then press enter or space, and I'm going to stop that there. Now the depth can vary, but I'm just going to draw another 300 perhaps from there. Okay, and now generally with our edge beams, when it comes in, it would come in, if it was a brick veneer, we'd allow 150 mil, and the reason being is we'd have 110 for the brick width, and then we'd allow 40 mil cavity usually. Just to notice too, I'm going to start the polyline command again, so PL, and I have what it called the snaps on. If you're not getting something like that, you can try pressing the F3 key on your keyboard. See, I've turned it off now, and I can turn it back on. If you're not getting any snaps, what you can do, just press the escape button, type OS, and on the third tab you should have object snaps. As you can see here, it's turned on. As I said, you can press the F3 key as well, and these are all the different types of snaps. The general ones I use are the endpoint and the midpoint, but these are some of my own preferences here I have on as well. Just thought I'd show you that in case you hadn't seen it before. So I'm going to type PL again for polyline, and with my snaps on, I'm going to snap onto that line, and I'm going to come across 150, and in this case we'll go up perhaps another 150, and then I'll just draw a line out this way somewhere and just click. Doesn't really matter where. Now in the slab usually you have a 50 mil chamfer, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a line or a polyline, doesn't really matter. I'll draw just a line up here across there, and now I'm going to offset, so O for offset, then I'm going to type 50 for 50 mil. Okay, and there's my first 50. Now we're going to put in the thickness of the slab. So the slab we're going to say is 100 millimeters, and as you can see the polyline, what it's done there, it's because all joined together, it's offset the whole lot. That's okay though. Okay, so now we've got from here to here, that's 100, and then I'm going to offset again another 50 millimeters. So now we can draw a polyline or a line from here to here, and we know we've got our perfect chamfer of 50 mil. And I'm going to just trim up some of this, so I'm going to type TR for trim. I'm going to press space or enter. I'm going to select this, the line here, and I'm going to press spacebar, and then I'm just going to trim off the lines that I don't want. And I think that's, oh, there we go. And I can just select this one now and press E for erase, and I'm going to select those and E for erase as well. Alright, so that's the sort of basic sort of thing we've got there, and as you can see, I've got a polyline here, and if you use the fillet command, there's a couple of ways to do this. We can join all these together. So with the fillet command, if I type F for fillet, and I make sure my radius though is set to 0 first, so just type R for radius, press enter, and just make sure mine's already set to 0, but just type 0 just in case yours isn't. Okay, now it's going to ask me to fillet. So if I select the polyline and the next line next to it, if you see now I select it, it's all joined together, it's one polyline. So I can go around filleting all those corners so they're all joined together. And you see we've got one polyline there. Okay, now what we can do here as well is I'm going to use the polyline command again, and I'm just going to trace over this part here. Now there's a line there, you can't see it, but I've selected it. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to move that line out of the way. So you can do that a number of ways. You can either type M for move and then select it and then move it across. Or another way is if you select an object and now it's got these blue squares on it, they're called grips. If I select a grip with my left mouse button, that's now a red grip, it's now called a hot grip. And if you look down the bottom here, we've got stretch. If I press the space bar, it'll say move, and I can move things around. I can copy it, but anyway, well, that's it. I do that in some of my other videos in more detail, but just thought I'd show you that. And so in the drawing I have the edge beam is 300 mil. What I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a line from the midpoint, so it's going to be the midpoint from here to here and just down. Now I'm going to select all those lines. I'm going to left click there so it's a hot grip, and as you can see down here it says stretch. If I press the space bar, it says move, press it again, rotate, press it again, scale, and if I press it one more time it'll say mirror. Now what I want to do is I want to copy that, so I want to mirror copy. So I can type the letter C, copy, and if I move my mouse in the right direction, and make sure ortho is on. If your ortho is not on, as you can see, if ortho is not on, I'll be doing something like this. So to turn ortho on, all you need to do is press the F8 key on your keyboard, and now I can left click, and I can press escape out of that. I can delete this, and I'm just going to fill it again. So now we have that internal beam. Okay, and I'm going to select this hot grip again. I'm going to scroll through to move, and I'm going to type C for copy. Okay, and then I'm going to grab it and I'm going to mirror it. So the same thing again, left click onto the grip, scroll through to mirror, and I've got that. So and what I want to do is I'll just move it back a bit. Now generally you'd have your spacings worked out, and how you know the engineers maybe specified them, or you perhaps used some sort of table or chart to determine where the distances will be from the edge beams to these internal beams. But in this case I'm just showing you how to do it. So let's say that was 1 meter, well 1 meter off for instance. I could just go 1000 and then I can trim, so TR, select that, and now I can fill it again. As you see, now we have one solid slab. Okay, excuse me. Now what we need to do is we need to put on some of the trench mesh. So what we can do is we can draw a line, and now I'm going to move that line up, say 50 mil, and then I'm going to draw a circle. So C for circle. I'll click in the middle for now, and it's going to ask me for a diameter. So we'll perhaps say 12. And now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to move it from that grip down to here, and I'm going to move a copy. So we'll try a different way. We'll try it this way. The command prompt this. So we'll type CO for copy, select, and I'm going to move it. We'll say 200 mil. Actually, sorry, 100 mil. And then move the mouse this way, and we'll type 100 as well. And what I'm going to do is now is perhaps I'll just move a line out this way, 50 mil. Oh, that's too far. We'll try and make maybe 20 mil. All right. So from here, go out 20 mil. Click up there, and then we can just trim off the mesh. Now, see, I've selected the slab there by accident. Rather than having to press escape to get out of deselecting it, if you hold down your shift key on your keyboard, then left click, you can deselect objects. And now I can press the delete key, or E in erase. Okay. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put a bit of hatch in there, solid hatch. So I type BH, and I'm going to select on the swatch, and then I'm going to select solid. So make sure that you've got ANSI, ISO and predefined. Make sure you get that. Select solid, click OK, and then we'll click select objects. So I'll select these three objects. Oop. Press enter or space, and then OK. So we have those, and I'm going to move, actually I'll move a copy, CO, all these, and from the middle over to here and over to here. So that's our trench mesh there. The same method with the mesh at the top. So the slab mesh, so we'll allow say 25 mil. Actually we can't do that, we'll have to draw a line because I've drawn that, made that one big solid polyline. So I'm drawing a line there, and now I'm going to move it down 25 mil. And we'll come in off there, say 25 mil. Reality probably a little bit more than that, but anyway. And we can just do the same thing. We can just grab, well, we'll just draw new circles. So a circle, diameter, and we'll make it 12 mil. And then we'll come maybe in 25 mil. And we'll B hatch. And select. And then as you can see, then we can just move that across, perhaps 200 mil. Copy across 200, 200. Oops, sorry, I meant to do that, add 200 each time that time. So 400, 600, 800, 1000, 1200, 1400, 1600. We can actually use the array command. I'm just, it's only a small slab, but I just want to give you an idea of how to draw one up at this stage. So anyway, once we've got our slab, and the reason I've joined it all into one polyline is so it's easier to hatch. So I'm going to hatch the slab 2 now. So I'm going to type VH, and I'm going to select the swatch, and under other define I'm going to select AR conc, which is concrete. Click OK. I'll select object, and then we can select our entire slab polyline. Now the scale, we'll just preview that, and it's looking pretty good at the moment. Yours might not look very well, so you might have to play around with the scale. And I do another video on hatch scales as well. Sometimes there's a bit of a problem, especially when you're matching properties. But so if I type 5, press preview, it's gotten very large there, but if I type 0.1, it's very dense. So I think the 1 looked pretty good. And then I can just click OK. Just on a side note with the hatches, there is a command called measurement. I'm going to type that. So measurement, and mine's currently set to 1. It can either be set to 1 or 0. If I change it to 0, I'm going to draw a rectangle just temporarily. I'm going to hatch that, B hatch. And now look what happens. Look how dense it is. And as you can see, it's still the same scale. And if I match properties, it's still the same. But if I type measurement again, and then type 1, which is what it was before, and now I match properties, now it's a proper scale. So if you ever see a problem with your hatches at a funny scale, try the measurement command and see if that fixes the problem. So now another thing we'll do is we'll come down here a bit, we'll say 50 mil. This is going to be our ground line. And we'll come down 50 mil here. Oops. Alright, so 50 mil. Alright. Now sometimes what I do for a bit of creative looking earth is I'll draw a spline. So I type SPL for spline, select on the edge. Now I'm going to press the F8 key, because you can see it's locked in ortho at the moment. Now I press F8, you can see I can move around freely. And I'll just sort of click around to give a bit of a wiggly line, and then I'll select on the edge and press enter. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to type B-hatch, click on my swatch again, and I'll go down to Earth, select that, click OK. Now I want to change the scale, scale the angle to say 45 degrees, and this time I'm going to select add pick points. I press space. Now I'm going to preview it, and you can see it's very dense. So I'll press the space bar button again, and I'll type 50 and press preview. Now it's too big, so I'll press space again, and we'll try 15 perhaps and preview that. That doesn't look too bad. Maybe go down to 10. Okay, that looks pretty good. Now click OK. And then generally what I do is I delete the line. So you got this nice sort of, I don't know, a bit more of a, feels a bit more, not so computer generated when you do it this way, a bit more like how we used to do it when we draw by hand. But this is a sort of basic way to draw a slab, a concrete slab. As I said, you'd generally have, turn F8 back on, all right? You'd have your 110mm brickwork there, and generally you'd have your stud work on here, which would be 90mm. And I don't think I quite drew on there. No, I'm a little bit off. There you go, I'll smooth that over. So yeah, so that's basically how you draw a concrete raft slab, edge beam, and internal beam. Just hoping that it's a very basic sort of thing, and I just wanted to give you a rough idea about how you'd go about drawing something like that. Obviously you can use the dimensions that you need, but it's mainly the sort of way that I go about it. The other thing I do as well is, because I haven't shown here, is, and another reason I did the polyline for the slab was so I can show the moisture vapor barrier. So I'm just going to allow, say, 20mm. Obviously it's going to be hard up against the slab, but diagrammatically we'll just move it a little bit, and I'm going to trim, grab that, select that ground line there, and select that ground line there, and I'll press enter, and then I'll click there. Okay, so now we have, oh, I didn't quite trim it all. I don't know why I didn't trim that. Oh, I just trimmed it to there. Okay, so we've still got some there. All right, so I'm going to trim that again. All right, so I've got rid of that. Now I'm going to select that. I'll change it to another color. Hopefully you can see this on the screen once I've uploaded it to YouTube, because some colors don't look very good on the screen. That might not be easy to see. Maybe green perhaps might be a bit better. So generally you'd show a dashed line. So I've got some line types already loaded in here, but if you don't have line types loaded in there, we can alright, so the way we can do that was we type LT, and we can load a line type. So I'll go down here, perhaps we'll select dashed 2 times 2 or 2, or even just dashed, any of these. Maybe we'll go dashed. Click OK. That's already in there, so I'll just reload it. Alright. So I'm going to select this green line. I'm going to go up here. I'm going to go down to dashed. Okay. And as you can see, it's very big dashes. So what we can do about that is we can open our properties window. So hold down the control key and press the number 1. And over here we'll have the line type scale. So we change that to 5. You see it's made the gaps even bigger again. But if we type 0.1, you can see that we've got a bit more of a dashed line. Maybe we'll make it 0.5 or perhaps 0.25. And you can just play around as you need to get that the way you want that to look. I generally change the color of this ground as well, something like a grey. Anyway, and so I got that, and obviously underneath that we generally have sand, packing sand. So it's going to come down here and allow 25, sorry, 50 mil, and come up 50 mil. And what I can do is I can trim. Ooh, so TR for trim. I'm trying to select that. For some reason I can't select it. What have I done there? Don't know what's happened there. This is not closed. For some reason I don't know why that is. I can't seem to select that. I'll just draw a rectangle for now. Alright. And generally you'd have the right dimension for the sand, packing sand. And I still can't seem to select that for some reason. Maybe it's to do with the line type that's selected. I think that might be the problem. So TR, there we go. Now I trimmed out the hatch, and I'm going to type B hatch for B hatch again. I'm going to select the swab, I'm going to select sand, I'm going to select objects, press space, press preview, that's very dense, press space again, and we'll try 0.1 preview, or even 0.05. Oh, that's it's too dense. 0.5. There we go. Maybe make that 0.25. Oop. Sometimes people do it like that. Some people use just a, back to the swabs, just ANSI 31. As you can see, it's straight up and down because I've got the angle at 45, but I'll change that to 90. I'll change this to 1. And it's still pretty big, so maybe 4. You know, and you can do whatever hatch you really like, and to indicate the sand, the packing sand, you can, you know, copy that underneath the other ones. Same with under here, we could draw a polyline here, and we'll offset it. I'll say 50 mil. See what happens. Probably going to be a straight line. I know. Here we go. And I'll draw a line across here. And I'm going to use a fill again, so I can join these together. And I'm going to trim, and then I'm going to B-hatch. All right. So yeah, I mean, you can make some adjustments as you want to suit your preferred way of doing things. I hope this has been helpful for you. It's yeah, sort of basic sort of introduction to how to draw a slab. Different types of slabs, all sorts of different things you do need to draw in AutoCAD. But hopefully this has been helpful. If you have any questions, please leave them below. Or if you have any suggestions for a video that you'd like to see on how to do something, please let me know as well, and I will do that for you. Okay, thanks.